cross buns, hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. So today we're going to show you how to prepare famous hot cross buns with Tutti Frutti. Well, as a kid I remember singing this poem in my childhood throughout, and now I'm actually making them, and I want to share this recipe with you all guys. So let's get started. So guys, to prepare the hot cross buns, the first step is we'll be activating the yeast. I've taken about 1 cup of warm milk. Ensure that the milk is not very hot or not very cold. It should be mildly warm so that the yeast gets the perfect temperature to activate. Now I'll be adding 2 tablespoons of sugar. Give it a stir. To this I'll be adding 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. Instant yeast gets activated within 8 to 10 minutes. So you don't have to wait that long. Give this mixture a stir so that the yeast is mixed well with the milk and the sugar as well. I'll cover this with a lid and let it activate for about 8 to 10 minutes until it's nice and frothy. Now in this next step, I'll be mixing the dry ingredients. I've taken 2 cups of all-purpose flour and I'll be taking 3/4 cup of icing sugar. Be very cautious when I say icing sugar. Don't use normal sugar. The dough might become sticky and you won't get the correct consistency. For better results, go with icing sugar. I'll add this to the flour. I'll add in 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon powder just for flavor, and I'll mix this thoroughly. So baking this bun is exactly how you would bake a bread. There's nothing different except for some ingredients. Now I'll be using the flat surface for better results. For me, whenever I knead the bread or anything, I love to use a flat platform because it will give me enough space to knead, and a flat surface will ensure you form proper gluten while kneading the dough. Now in this, I'll be forming a well in between. I'll be pouring the egg and the liquid mixture in between and slowly combining the dough together. I've taken 1 egg. I'll add it in between. Then I'll be adding 1/2 teaspoon vanilla essence. As you can see, my yeast mixture has been activated. It's nice and frothy from top. If you don't get this kind of result, repeat the process, because if you don't have a proper activated yeast, your bread won't rise or become nice and fluffy, or it won't form the appropriate gluten. Now I will be pouring this in parts in between the well and then combine the flour little by little. Let me pour some in between. Just like this, and try to mix in the flour along with the egg. Pour in some more. Combining the dough and the flour step by step is very important, because if you do it all at once, the dough will become liquidy. So as I'm combining the flour, you can see that certain amount of gluten is being formed. And that's very important. Don't worry if the dough is sticky. You'll eventually get what you're looking for towards the end. I've used up all the activated yeast with milk, and this is how my dough looks like. The dough is sticky, and don't be worried because this is the exact consistency of the dough. Now I'll be adding the butter. This is about 4 tablespoons of butter. I've taken salted butter. So in case you're not using salted butter, you can add in 1/4 teaspoon of salt when you're adding the dry ingredients. Now my basic process is to combine the butter with the dough and also to form gluten. So now to form gluten, I'll first spread it out and move it in a circular motion. So it forms those kind of webs which you see in the buns and bread. can see it's forming some threads and webs. Do this for another 10 minutes. It's a laborious task, but the results, when you see the result, it will be so soul satisfying. You can use a scraper to scrape off the sides, which will help you combining it together properly. Form the gluten in this. It's almost 10 minutes. Now I'll add this in a greased bowl, the dough. You can grease it with some oil. You can make this recipe without adding the egg also. Egg is optional. You can do it without an egg also. As you can see, I've added the dough in this. And now I'll proceed to cover it with a lid and wrap it with a cloth and keep it in a warm place. Let this brew for about 1 hour. So let's check it out, guys. As you can see, the has come on top. And now I'll proceed to punch it. Add in some flour. You just sprinkle it from top and give it a nice punch. You can see. So this is how you want your dough to be. Now I'll remove this on the flat surface. Add in some more flour. At this stage I'll be adding the Tutti Frutti. So I have prepared homemade Tutti Frutti from raw papaya, and you can find the link to this recipe in my description box below. Try to spread it out. Now I'll combine this. You can use more flour. Knead it well so that the Tutti Frutti is evenly distributed. So this is how my dough looks like, guys. I've evenly distributed the Tutti Frutti. So the next step is like making ball shape and putting out in a tray. So well, basically I've greased the tray. You can use a butter paper also, the choice is yours. I will shift my dough to one side. Now I'll divide the dough into equal parts. You can add in some dry flour. It's divided. Roll it in the dry flour. As you can see, now I've divided it into equal portions. I've roughly divided. You can use a measuring scale. This yields me about 8 buns. Grease my hand with some oil and let's proceed to make nice balls out of them. Try pressing it from both the sides. Try applying some pressure. So the basic thing, it has to have a smooth surface from top especially. Just give it a light press. And this is what it should look like. I'll repeat the same process with the rest. So guys, these are the buns, and I've made the ball shape out of them and I've placed it on a greased pan. Now I'll let this rest for about 45 minutes until it further rises and proofs and it's ready for the baking. So now I'll be preparing a paste for making the crosses on the bun. I've taken about 4 tablespoons of cream and I've added 2 tablespoons of sugar to it. I'll be adding some vanilla essence, about half a teaspoon. Then I'll be adding 2 teaspoons of custard powder. The custard powder is optional. Then I'll be adding 2 teaspoons of all-purpose flour. And I'll mix this mixture thoroughly. So if you add only cream or only custard on top, it will tend to melt and you won't get those perfect crosses on the bun. So you need to make a mixture like this for the perfect crosses, which will eventually get cooked along with the buns. Remove all the lumps and mix it really well. As I said, you can make the mixture of only all-purpose flour, vanilla and cream. Custard will give it a different flavor. You can see it's nice and smooth. And now I'll proceed to add this in a piping bag. I'll use a cup. Will hold in the cream as I pour it, and will give me some depth. So this is the best way to add the mixture in your piping bag. So ensure that your cream is not runny, because you want it nice and firm, so you can make nice crosses on the buns. Tied a knot, and here it's ready to be put on the buns. So I've covered it with a cloth and I've kept it. Now let's check it out, guys. Be gentle. Pour a little bit bigger, and this is how you want your buns to be. So now I will give it an egg wash. I've taken only the egg yolk and added a little bit of water, and I'll give it an egg wash from top, so it gets a nice glaze. So if you're not using egg in this recipe, you can substitute the egg yolk with milk. So now I'll take the paste that I made. I've already cut an opening. You can adjust the opening according to the thickness you want on your crosses. And now let's start making the crosses. So the crosses are done. Now I'll proceed to place this in the oven. I've preheated the oven at 200 degrees Celsius, and I'll proceed to bake it at 200 degrees for about 15 minutes. So guys, my buns are now done, and this is how it looks like. Nice and fluffy and soft, and it's a little bit cracked, but trust me, the taste will be amazing. I'll make some sugar and butter together, and I'll brush it on top just to give it a nice glaze. Do this when it's hot itself, so the sugar melts on top with the butter. So I hope you'll enjoy watching the video, guys. Please do like and subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter and show us your love. So we'll see you next time, guys.